All right, so I don't need to be on camera or anything, just to introduce everyone and to say why we're here. The men and women of the Killeen Fire Department, they stand ready and willing to answer the call no matter when, late night, early morning, whenever they get that call. So that's why we had now 7 of our Killeen Fire Department staff and firefighters go out to help in the Smokehouse Creek wildfire in the Panhandle. So they joined about 250 other and more personnel agencies to fight this fire, to assist in the life and health and safety and just the protection of property for this wildfire. So we appreciate all that they have done, and they have returned. And I'm going to turn it over to our fire chief, who is Jim Kabinski, to say a few words before our firefighters introduce themselves, and then they will spell their names and say it for you all. Thank you.
Good morning. James Kubinski, Fire Chief. James, common spelling, James, Kubinski, K-U-B as in boy, I, N as in Nora, S-K-I. I'm going to open up with the fact that this is not about myself or the administration. We are here for the men and women that are to my left, your right today. So I just want to thank you all for being here today, and more importantly, thank the guys and gals who take these deployments, who go out and assist other agencies, who understand the big picture, which is that it's not just about Killeen. They're here every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to protect our citizens, but they understand the bigger picture, which is protecting the citizens of the state of Texas. And they are ready and willing, and the sacrifices they make, just understand, they leave for anywhere up to 21 days, minimum 14, up to 21. One of our members right now is taking on that 21-day deployment and is not here with us today. The members here were demobilized and did almost a 14-day deployment. That means 14 days away from their family. So it's not just the sacrifice they make of being gone for 14 days. It's also the sacrifice their family makes. So I do want to recognize that as well. And with that, I'll turn it over to the team here.
I'm FRO Paramedic Allersmeyer, Justin. That's spelled Justin. Ahlersmeyer, and I am part of the Wildland team, and I was deployed for 1.5 days.
Charles Layton, CharlesLayton, and I was deployed with him for up to Lubbock.
Battalion Chief Philip Bannister, PHILLIPBANNISTER. I went with Texas A&M Task Force 1, sponsored by Killeen Fire, for 12 days.
My name is Jeremiah Combs, Jeremiah, last name Combs, Combs. We were on the Windy Deuce Fire for 11 days with Strike Team 104.
Fire Rescue Officer Dustin Riddle, DUSTIN RIDDLE. I was also deployed on Strike Team 104 at the Windy Deuce Fire for a total of 11 days.
All right, we're open for questions now.
What was it like up there in just those conditions, and what was it like for those communities that you were serving and helping? Where are they at?
Okay, I guess I'll start with that. There's more than one county involved, so if you can imagine the grand scheme of this started in one place and transversed all the way across multiple jurisdictions. Then it turns into a large-scale event, which 2 participating agencies that we were there with were TIFMAS and Texas A&M Task Force 1, all sponsored by Killeen FD. And as we go up there and we engage with them and spend time with them and work through that, you're kind of looking at the aftermath of this entire event. There's widespread destruction between properties, ranches, small urban areas. There's a lot of that. And so the grand scheme of this is Texas helping Texans as we go through this, and everybody pitching a part from all across the state in that effort to help them start their recovery process.
So I know that you all went on different days and had different responsibilities, but how many hours would you guys say on average would you put in one shift for that day being there?
We were anywhere between 13 and 18 hours per shift.
Got you. So going down there, knowing this is a big deal, it's one of the largest fires in Texas history. I mean, were you nervous? What were you thinking?
So when we were deployed, it was not at the time we were deployed, it was not the largest fire in Texas history. The northern front that came in as we arrived in Amarillo is what turned the winds from the west, which made it a long, skinny fire. It turned the winds to the north, which started blowing down south, which is where it started eating up acres. And that was when we were getting checked in. We were assigned directly to Fritch. We went up there and began some structured triage. They wanted a count of exactly how many homes were affected, and we did that into the early morning hours before we were released.
Okay, I mean, how would you say you felt though? Determined, nervous? I mean,
So once structures get involved, of course, there's nerves. The resources in the area are of course in over their head. You know, they can't get to everybody. So we were plugged in to assist the local resources, and we did what we could with what we had.
What were the conditions like up there? Were they anything that you have battled here in Killeen? Was it a challenge, helping up there?
So in the Panhandle, this time of year, they have large wind events that come through, sometimes in excess of 70-mile-an-hour gusts. So it's a little bit different with flat land. There's really nothing to stop it. So it's a change in mindset coming from the Central Texas area to going to an area like that where the fire is going to be very fast moving. We're going to have to get out in front of it. Evacuations are key in those sort of circumstances. And then you just got to kind of let the fire do its thing. But the main thing that we're tasked with is getting people out of the way.
did this make you, this experience make you feel more proud of being a firefighter? Do you feel more experienced or anything? I don't know, I'm just wondering from your perspective.
I don't know that you could say one event would change the way we perceive our job. You know, we all started this at some point in time, and we started out fresh, get here, and then there's so many different ways to grow inside the organization. And you take on new tasks, new developments, and this is just one of those things that you take on. There's an immense amount of support that comes for these team members for both sides of this table, from TIFMAS and Texas A&M Task Force 1, that the city is always backing us up. They make sure that we can attend the training, make sure we get the exposure, make sure we get in those environments, so the first time that you're experiencing this is not when you show up to this fire that's going to grow to be the largest fire in history, in our history. As we go through this, you know, there's a tremendous amount of work that goes in advance. And it's not just when you're deployed, you're gone for 14, 21 days. It's you're gone weekends, training throughout the year, and this is all preparation. So it becomes a mental state as you're going through this, and you're already prepared to go do this. And when we show up, it's just time to do work. It's no different than having kids and waking up in the morning and we got to get ready to go to school. It's just, we know what we got to do. Lights are on at 5. We've got briefings to be, and they usually hold them around your food, so they make sure you attend. Once you hit the floor running, the expectation is you work until the operational period's over, and then you return back for debriefs, sending the next teams out, and it is a round-the-clock event. If your task is not complete and they extend you, it could be an 18, 24-hour operational period, depending on what the demands are at the time.
How would you describe your time working with the community and kind of some takeaways now being back home?
Working with the community, what I've seen a lot of is the community comes together. So bringing in clothing. Up there, farming and ranching is a big thing, so bringing in hay, feed for horses, medicines, because a lot of these cattle and stuff were being burned, and it's their lifeline. So if they can't get these animals healthy, then their lifeline is no good. So that's the biggest thing that I've seen from this fire and past fires, just how the community comes together. We're just there to support them and help them however we can.
There are down days where the weather is favorable, where we'll have an option essentially to enter a recovery day, if you will, and nobody takes those recovery days. There's a humanitarian effort or that side of that all of Texas, all of Oklahoma, they're sending hay in, they're sending trucks, they're sending equipment in, but the communities, they're devastated they're there, so there's no one to do that work. So there's a lot of backfill that we go in and do, and we're offloading 18-wheelers of hay and doing different things in these periods of time because that's what the community needs. It's not just about we're here for this fire aspect or we're here for the search aspect or we're in that recovery. We're truly there, Texans helping Texans in returning back to normal, trying to stabilize their environment.
Out of all your tasks, what would you find the most challenging part?
The square miles. These are not urban areas where this is going through and we can go and we can clear a series of houses or events and make quick work of this. You're going from ranch to ranch to ranch, and you're trying to tell folks we need to leave now or we may not be able to leave, and their whole livelihood is built on this property. So getting from property line to property line to property line and trying to convince people your best option is to come out with us, and that's pretty tough. And you spend a lot of time just covering ground, and some of it's not ground you can cover by vehicle. It's ground you're covering on foot, in boots, in gear. There are 50-mile-an-hour winds. That one day it was sleeting and snowing on us the entire time, and everything's burnt, so there's nothing to slow anything down. So it's sandy, silty, and you're just getting pelted with that the entire time, trying to do work, and then you just keep pushing forward. So there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's what our mission tasking is for the day.
What do you have to say about just current weather conditions? Because there has been, just hotter summers, a lot more fires breaking out, and with this being the largest in Texas history, do you feel like there's going to be more situations like this you're going to be going out to? Is that something you're concerned about or thinking about coming back?
That's a great thing about the state of Texas is it decides what it wants to do with the weather whenever it wants to do with the weather. If you were a betting person and putting money on weather, you'd lose every time. Now, we could have a nice wet spring here, and we could get a lot of growth and a lot of potential, and then we could go into a dry summer, and that is equally as dangerous as staying dry now and not getting the water. So, Texas is Texas. It's known for doing big things. That's what it is.
To answer your question about the weather, in my 20 years here, it has progressively gotten worse, drier, hotter, and so the fires are getting bigger and more devastating.
To add on to that, one of the things that they do commonly is like fuel mitigation programs and do like prescribed burns, so like around cities and stuff to kind of give a break in between like structures and big open grasslands and stuff.
So what does this say about firefighters, coming together even though it could be outside your jurisdiction?
So we get to work with a lot of different people from all over the state. You get to make some lifelong friends. You get to meet some interesting folks and experience some interesting things. Is that right, Jeremiah?
That's right.
So it's good to get out. It's good to get out, support the local communities. I'd like to take this time to thank the Killeen Fire Department, the TIFMAS program, and for allowing us to go out on these deployments. And to echo what you guys have heard a couple of times earlier, Texans helping Texans. So
To go with that, there's nobody in this job is ever alone. So when we go out the door, there's a community that's left behind here that pick up the pieces for us while we're gone as well. So when we say we go to help somebody else and we're going to go to that community we're helping, we show up. These are first day you meeting somebody, and then it becomes the same as if you had worked with them for 20 years. It's not, nobody bats an eye. We have a job to do, and we all pull together to do it. Everybody is a subject matter expert for the most part in their disciplines, and that's why you were called for this event. And then you combine these subject matter experts from across the state all into one area to do as much good as possible in the shortest amount of time as we roll through that event. But then back home, there's a giant network of us still here, and they make sure that everything goes around full circle, because we can't go, Killeen Fire Department is going to support the deployment, and the City of Killeen is going to support that deployment, but that also means that the rest of the people that stay back here have to support the Killeen Fire Department and the City of Killeen in that process, which requires coverage, and everybody pulls together to make this happen. So it's not just the guys or the girls going out the door. It becomes everybody has a part in this to play in a time of need.
Can any of you guys share any interesting stories or situations that happened while you guys were there? I noticed you had a little chuckle there about.
I don't think we can talk about that on camera.
Is there anything you guys can't talk about that of interest or particular event?
I can say one thing in particular that was interesting is the people in the Panhandle are prepared just like people on the coast are prepared for a hurricane. There were lots of folks out there with backup generators and things of that nature in large capacity. So there was definitely times where we were in a stable environment and there were down power lines, and when you're on there on day one, everything is okay, we've cleared it, we've been through here, we're coming back. And then day two, generators are coming on, power's being restored. So the hazard is always there. So having the power companies or having the other crews running around checking that capacity as we're doing work around us, it's a pretty interesting experience to be on one side of a down line while it was not hot and it become energized while we're on the other side of the fence. And without the equipment, the tools, and the metering that was there, nobody would have known it would have happened. So that's in the recovery aspect of that, it's very interesting to quickly see how many people are playing their part to come back and start that recovery process. And sometimes that can create a hazard for us as well. The other thing that is not something particular to us, but the amount of people that showed up from vet teams and agricultural support, the amount of cattle that was lost out there was terrible. And you're going through these fields and they've all been ran to one corner trying to get away from something, and they were overran by fire in that process. So there is a lot that those people are still going to be recovering through for the next year or years to come. And losing a head of cattle or losing that at all is generational loss. It's not just a recovery piece for that. That's a generational loss for these families. Some may or may not ever recover from this event.
Can I make a request? We have a sign for donations. Can we get that put on this press conference at some point so people know where they can donate? I just took a picture. We have it posted on the door out there. So let me see if I can do this real quick. I mean, it's a lot of addresses and locations, but some of the things that they can donate is hay, feed, fence supplies, and milk replacer. There is an east location, a north location, and a west location. I will let y'all post a picture of this with the addresses and contact numbers for it. There are monetary donations in Hutchinson County, Gray County, Hemphill County, and Potter County agriculture. And again, there are websites and addresses there. So if we get you guys a copy, would you put that up for the citizens to view, please? Thank you.
Does anyone else have a story they wanted to share? Most memorable moment, anything?
We did eat lunch under a bald eagle nest. We were able to see a bald eagle in one of the canyons that we were hiking and putting out hot spots in, so we decided it would be a good place to eat lunch. We got some good video.
That first night we were there on structure triage, and we use field maps, and we go around and we mark like damaged house, like whether it's damaged or, total loss. We did that throughout the night, and then like at the end I like zoomed out and it was just all yellow, just all like destroyed home. So very vast area of that. So I was like, you really saw like the significant impact on that community.
Anything else y'all want to say that you wish we've asked, or anything else on your heart to wrap up here?
Our thoughts and prayers are with the community of Fritch, Texas, the Fritch Fire Department, who lost their fire chief during that deployment. It was on a structure fire. It wasn't related to the wildland. So the people of Canadian and all the people that were affected up in the Texas Panhandle.
And I'll just reiterate the support we get as deployable teams from the city of Killeen and Chief Kubinski here. It's a pretty big undertaking to keep everybody tip of the spear, ready to go at all times. And I know a lot of communication takes place behind closed doors with chief and city manager and those levels. And without them and their support, we couldn't have this effect on the community.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chief, did you have any final closing thoughts?
And the final piece I'll tail into that is everyone says, well, what is the benefit? There's a lot of benefit to the fact that they receive training, which relates to the fact that these men and women are skilled enough to quickly respond and react when we have these type of incidents in Killeen. There's no shortage of areas where large wildland areas are right next to homes, and our guys and gals have been very successful in that. And the second piece, we know that TIFMIS and Texas Task Force 1 will be there for us when we need it. It's not if. We know that we would be remiss to think that we're just the bubble of the city of Killeen, that we're never going to be affected by something like this. So we know that when it's needed, the partnerships and the friendships and the camaraderie that they have built with the firefighters from across the state is going to be paid off tenfold when they come in here and they have those familiar faces. It'll be seamless operations. Hopefully we never need it, but we know the reality is it probably will one day. So, and just thank you for your time and your interest in hearing what they have to do and what they did, and especially the people that they help. That's the most important piece.